There are very few cars that I can honestly say that I dislike. Car lines, engines, stuff like that. There's very few that I can honestly say that I actually do dislike. This happens to be one of them. Chevy Traverse with the 3.6. I mean, that's just a terrible motor. Just out and out, it's just a terrible motor. It's a terrible design. Look where they put the oil filter. Right next to the catalytic converter. Great spot for it. Especially when it's hot and you got to change oil. Awesome. When you take the engine cover off, this ugly thing, look at this mess. Who runs a wiring harness like this? Over top an intake manifold and everything else. Just a mess. I got to change a water pump on this vehicle. It's down there. It's down there somewhere. If I'm not mistaken, in order to do that, I got to take the PDC completely out. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I got to take it completely out, and I'm pretty sure I got to take that mount completely out in order to get my hands even in there to see what's going on. So that's what I'm working on now. This is just one of those things just don't like these things. This GM 3.6 is absolute garbage. Goes along with the Ford 5.43 valve, absolute garbage. There's a few of those motors out there, absolute garbage. But whatever. So that's what I'm going to be working on now. Well, let me get going. All right, I got the cover off the PDC. I disconnected the wiring. The wire that comes from underneath the cowl, I wrap up and tape off to the side. This is actually a hot power wire coming straight from the battery. I don't feel like going under the back seat or whatever else to get the, or actually it's not under the back seat, it's under a panel on this in front of the rear seats. A little bit of a pain to get to. I just don't feel like bothering with it. I tape it off with a rag. This way it doesn't contact anything and it's fine. Pull the other wire off. You got to take all these tabs here. See those? And as you can see, it's already released. The edge of that goes down into that and hooks. So basically, I undid all of them. Where's the other one? That's the other one. Right there, you can see that one. That one's unhooked. So once those are all unhooked and the thing is loose, it'll come up. I've showed you in other videos, these bolts here, these are not for holding it down. What it does is it holds the wiring harness to the PDC. It like locks them in place. So I already loosened those up and pushed them back down to release the harness. So now, as you can see the bolts? They go right through those bulkhead connectors right there to lock it in place. So now, with that out of the way, make sure you don't get anything in there. Make sure it's not in a place where you're going to get water in it or anything like that. So now with this out of the way, I got to disconnect this connector from here to split this thing in two. I forgot exactly how it is. It's joined. You can see this is one part, this is another. I got to look to see. I don't recall how these two separate. I've done this before, I just don't recall how. So I got to separate those two so I can put this harness over there and keep this harness over here and take the rest of the PDC out, and then I can get down there. All right, same thing with the lower half of the cover. It uses those same type of clips that lock it into this metal bracket down here. This piece comes apart. You have to reach in through the white section, like on this one, and you see there's a locking tab that locks this piece to this piece here. Really no big deal. Once you press the tab, it comes right out. So now I got to take this bracket out, and you can actually start to see down there somewhere is a water pump. There it is. See that? You could actually just start to see it now. So we're getting somewhere. As you see, I got the wiring unclipped from that metal bracket. I got the nuts out. There was a nut there, a nut up there, and a bolt down there. I got that out. So this should lift up and out. Just like that, comes out. And now that mount has to come out. So got this 15 up here, this 15 here, and then I got to take this off, but I got to take the upper hose off to get to the two bolts there that are blocking me with this bracket here, unless I can get around it, but I don't think I can. So let me work on that. I got to take the overflow bottle out too to give myself a little more room. All right, so with the overflow bottle out of the way and the hose out of the way and stuff, now I can get to the bolts. I don't even have to take this one out, I think. I think I could just take this one out and those two out, and this assembly will slide back and up and out. And with that mount out of the way, as you can see, there's that bracket in the way, but you can actually see the water pump now down there. So we're getting closer. So let's see how we make out. Just going to take, there's only two 18s going in, one here and one over here, that hold this assembly together to the front cover. So let me get those out. And with that bracket out of the way, you get a pretty good view of it finally. Now, to get those 4 10mm bolts that hold the pulley to the pump, leave the belt in place when you're doing that, because you can crack them free relatively easy at this point. If you take the belt off, then you got no resistance to hold the pump back. So break them free now, and then that'll come off, and then just break them free basically, and then take the belt off, and then you can spin the bolts out by hand. So now, in GM's infinite wisdom, they decided, if you look at the belt there, and you look at the pulley, you'll see the belt goes behind the tensioner. Woohoo! Yep, they took a page out of the Ford 4654 book, and they mounted it backwards. Because it's really easy to put a belt on now. Because we're changing the belt because it's saturated with coolant. So may as well stick a new belt on there. And of course, let's make it as difficult as possible to put a belt on one of these things. So, yep. Even more joys when dealing with a 3.6. I really dislike these motors. But anyway, the pulley is off. You can see it's actually relatively easy now to get the pump out. So I'm going to get the pump out. It's just basically a bunch of perimeter bolts around there. I have the new pump here so you can see what it looks like. I mean, really, that part of it now is no big deal once you can get to it. And look, the kit, they even give you bolts. I'm not sure why, but they do. So, let me get that done, and let me try to snake the belt out from behind there. I know you can do it, it's just a pain. So let me get that part of it done. And there it is, the pump is off. Like I said, not terrible once you get everything out of the way. It's actually reasonably simple. The 3 lower bolts are actually the hardest because you got to get in there with a 1/4-inch drive ratchet and a long 10mm to get in there and actually do anything. The top ones you can do something else. Now, you got to make sure this thing has a metal gasket. See that? Make sure you take it off. And be careful too, because if you got your hand in there and you're trying to grab this thing can cut you like a razor blade. So, ask me how I know that, but it can. It can cut you like a razor blade, so be careful when you're taking those off. So now, you got to clean that up. And also, if you notice, I got the belt out. I was able to tuck it out from behind. A little bit of a pain, but it is what it is. So now I'm going to clean up that gasket surface, and remember what I said. Use Scotch-Brite. Do not use roll-lock discs. You're gonna hurt the surface. Don't use sandpaper either. You're going to hurt the surface. So let me do that and get that ready for the new pump. Now that new water pump came with new hardware. Whenever you get something like that comes with new hardware, check the size of them. Make sure that they're the same size. If they're longer or shorter or anything else, read the instructions that come with it just to see if there's any updates that they're including. Because if they're longer and you're going through like a timing cover or something like that, you can actually break through the other side, and then you have the possibility of a coolant leak into the oil, or you break through to the other side and now you just put a chunk of aluminum into the timing chain area. So that's obviously not good. So just something to keep in mind. And there you see the pump is in place. So now, before I put the pulley on, I'm going to get the belt behind the tensioner, because I got to feed it up and backwards over the tensioner, and it's kind of a pain, as you can imagine, because of the amount of room they give you. So let me do that. Once I get the belt actually in and over there, then I'm going to put the pulley on the water pump. Okay, as you can see, it's going together pretty well. I got the belt routed behind the tensioner, pain in the butt doing that. And if you look, you'll notice I have an extra long bolt in the pulley right there. What's the reason for that? Let me show you. Here's the old pump. Now, to lay the pulley over top, you lay the pulley over top, and in a tight spot like that, you're trying to get it on there and caught, and the pulley itself is moving. It's like a pain in the neck to line it up. So what I do is I take a long bolt, like that one, that's the same thread as the pump itself. I put it through the pulley, and then I feed it up to the pump, and I can actually see the bolt as I'm catching the threads here. I can actually see down from the side here, because that bolt is so long, like I'm holding the pulley out here, I can actually see it and catch it and start it. And I basically just use that as a guide when I'm doing that. A lot of times you can If you had a stud, you could put a stud in there and then do the same thing, and then just take the stud out. Obviously, I'm not going to use that bolt, because if I use that bolt, the original bolts are only this long. So if I use that bolt, one thing it could do is actually bottom out. Another thing it could do is throw the whole thing off balance. And then you could wind up, believe it or not, you wind up with some odd balance issues and some odd vibrations. So we don't want to do that. So let me get all that in place, and then get the belt in place, and then I can basically reverse procedures to install. So the belt is finally in place. I put that bracket in, and now I got the mount piece in. It's loose, so now I got to tighten all of that up. And let's see, anything else special? There's really nothing special. So like I said, it's going to be reverse procedure to install. I'll show you this connector when I get to that. So now with the mount tight down there and this bracket back in place, I could put the base part of the PDC back in place. And as you see, it snaps over those things like this. And if you watch closely, see that? It just snaps in place. So now I can lay the harness back in where it needs to go. I'm going to do this one first. This one can sit right there. And then this one, like I said, you see it's got that groove right there. So then this one is going to go in there, and that lock right there is going to catch on that ledge right there. This thing just snaps together, and listen for the click. That's it, together. That lays in place. The actual fuse box goes over top of it, and everything should line itself up. Now I'm not sure if, okay, yeah, this one you snap down first, and you see it actually brought those bolts up a bit. So now when I go to tighten those up, that'll drag the harness into place. Okay. Now you can't over tighten it. Hear it? It just snaps free. Obviously you don't want to sit there and go, bananas with the gun and Wah! You don't want to do that, because that's, you'll eventually ruin something. So now with that done, I can hook this cable in place, and then I can undo this that I've done. I can put the overflow bottle in, attach the line again, and then fill it with coolant. Great idea, GM. They put the cap underneath that cover right here. So the people that own this thing, they kept on putting coolant into the overflow, and they're like, it's not using coolant, but it's getting hot. Well, yeah, because it's not sucking through. When you have a leak in a closed system, if you have a leak, it'll never draw out of the overflow tank. If you have a substantial leak. A very minor leak, yeah, it will. But a substantial leak like this thing was actually pouring out. So as fast as I poured it in here, it was pouring out of the water pump. So anyway, so they were putting it in there, and they never realized, well, hey, the radiator was empty. I put 1.5 gallons in here. So now we actually had to tell them, you could have damaged the motor. You could have done some severe damage, like a head gasket, something like that. We won't know until we get it up and running. So let me finish putting those pieces in, and then we're going to fill the cooling system. All right, so that's it. We're all back together now. I put a battery charger on it. I usually do that, especially when I'm working on a car and I can put a charger on it, because it also did seem a little weak. So here we go. I'm going to start it up, and I know I'm not leaking any coolant because it's holding its level, because before you could pour it in and watch it go down. So that seems good, or at least it sounded good. But we're going to take this thing for a ride and just make sure everything's okay. All right, so let me button this up. Like I said, this cover actually covers the radiator cap. Absolutely stupidest thing. They don't give you an access port to it. Why? Who knows? They should give you a little door, a little window, something to get to it, but they don't. So, all right, let me get the charger off of this thing, and then let me get that cover on. All right, so we're going to drive this thing now, and we're going to see if everything goes good. I'm going to take it on my 8-mile loop, and I'll stop on my dead-end street. I just want to make sure the temperature stays consistent, and I don't see a cloud of white smoke behind me. Because like I said, this thing had, I added 1.5 gallons of water to this thing, because it had nothing in it, and they basically boiled out whatever was in the block too, I believe, because just now as I put it back together, I only wound up putting a gallon in it. So I put a gallon and a half in before, and now I only put in a gallon. So what does that tell you? It tells you the block was completely empty before. Because even though you take the water pump off, you're going to have all those water jackets with coolant in it. So this thing had no coolant in it. So it could have damaged it, very possible. But it seems to be running okay, and the temperature is holding steady just below 210 according to the gauge. So let's go for a ride. So everything went good on my road test. I didn't bother going down the dead-end road. The temperature held just below 210 the whole time. AC's been on, it's been working fine. Car had the normal power that it should have. Really nothing out of the ordinary. It didn't ping, detonate, nothing. No clouds of billowing white smoke out the tailpipe. So hopefully they got lucky and didn't damage anything. I guess we're going to find out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let it sit and cool down, and then I'll just double check the coolant level then. So that's about it. Hope you got something out of that. If you like my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. Have a great day. Keep wrenching.